Welcome back to the Full Heel Podcast. I am your host, Rafael Chairez, and I want to welcome my guest, Jeff. What's going on, Jeff?
What up, brother? How you doing?
Where's your fucking camera? Goddamn, oh, there it is.
What up, Full Heel Podcast?
There he is. Now
Here I am. Hi, everybody.
Producing and hosting is a crazy job.
You ain't telling me nothing I don't know.
Welcome to my show, Jeff. Now you're here on my show today.
It feels good to be on your show.
Yeah, been meaning to have you on, but you're a busy man, managing.
Mr. Managing.
Yeah, Mr. Managing over there.
Yeah, that's me.
How you been, brother?
I've been good, man. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Got some weed. My birthday's tomorrow. Got the day off.
Hell yeah. Yeah, let me be the first to fucking wish you a happy birthday, my brother.
Thank you.
How old are you gonna be?
31.
Woo!
Yeah, 31. So I gotta get shit going. I gotta get famous soon. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button on iTunes, on YouTube, all that good shit. Subscribe. Really helps out the show. And please go ahead and check out Average Joe's, where me and Jeff talk about. We're supposed to talk about UFC and fights, but we've been mainly talking about AEW.
We don't.
So
we've been talking a lot more wrestling. It's become part of the lexicon. I mean, for those Full Heel Podcast listeners that haven't seen the episodes I've been on before or know my story, listen to the Average Joe's MMA show. I was a lifelong early WWE, WCW fan. ECW is my shit. You can go back and check out the Full Heel Podcast episodes I've been on where we talked ECW. But I walked away from current wrestling for a really long time. WWE product just has been god fucking awful. So I stepped away from it. And, I've had a few run-ins with like ICW where I got back into wrestling for a little while and stuff like that. But ever since AEW, man, I've been back on board, and it feels good to fucking watch wrestling on a weekly basis and be excited about it again.
Dude, the wars are back. I missed yesterday. I'm going to try to do a breakdown of Raw probably after this. I fell asleep halfway through it. Raw sucked yesterday. It sucked big balls. There's no other way to put it. I don't know where they were going. They seem to be going steadily good, but ever since they did that whole Hell in a Cell thing, they seem to have shit the bed, and even the draft hasn't saved them. Like, the draft seemed really lackluster, to be honest. They separated into 2 days, and they try to make it important for both days, and when it's a draft and you try to separate it between 2 days, it's going to be hard to do so, because they try to put important people on the second day as well, and they drafted the champions on the second day to of course Seth was going to Raw, and
of course,
and Brock was going to SmackDown.
Yeah,
so
which is weird because you would think with Brock being Paul's guy, you would think Brock would be on Raw. But hey, they do a ton of shit that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Hey, fucking put Brother Love with him now. Shout out to Bruce Pritchard taking over SmackDown now.
Shout out to Bruce, but you know what? For Brock, I would rather have Paul in charge.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm just saying this would be pretty funny.
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Yeah, no. So AEW's definitely been kicking ass. Like I said, WWE, NXT, they've been kicking ass. Except yesterday, Raw really let me down. I had been entertained up until yesterday's Raw, where I had to tap out. I was like, "Why the fuck am I staying up for this? I don't even want to break this down. I can wait a whole day for this. This isn't even that great of a Raw." AEW won't let down. It's new. It's fresh. It's the new girl on the block with.
She's pretty.
Yeah, she's got big tits.
She does have big tits and a nice ass.
Yeah, and I want to see them, so I'm tuning in tomorrow.
Hell yeah, Darby Allin and fucking Jericho for the world title. Let's go.
No,
Kenny Omega, and who's he teaming up with? I know they're taking on Pac and Mox.
Fuck. Yeah, who is he going to get?
I don't know.
Hangman, maybe? No.
Maybe.
Yeah. Hopefully WWE can keep it up because I want to see I want to see a good war and I want to keep breaking this down. Um, so yesterday Seth broke into the Fiends. I need to go back and I need to go and watch it because I was in and out. I was knocking out. He broke into Bray Wyatt's playhouse. It's I don't know. He actually got
Firefly Funhouse.
Yeah, he got into it. Which if they're already escalating it this far, they're gonna kill this Bray Wyatt character super quick.
Probably, which is unfortunate. That sucks because like I feel like Bray never gets a real fair shake as far as pushes go. They kill off a lot of characters too quickly with him.
100%. I've always been behind Bray. I've always thought he can go a long way. He's got a great mic skills, and he's great in the ring.
Well, I mean, of course, he's got no choice but to be great in the ring. He comes from a family of just phenomenal wrestlers. Yeah, between his uncles.
We'll talk about his dad later on too. He's in matches.
Yeah, his dad's gonna come up for sure.
Yeah.
His uncles and it's just it sucks that the WWE doesn't give him a fair shake often enough and let him actually just do his thing. Because not only is he he's talented on the mic. He's talented in the ring, like you said, but he's also really talented at getting his character.
So have I ever? I've said it on here, and I've told it to Jesus. Have I ever told you how I thought they should have gotten Bray over years ago?
No, I don't think we ever had that conversation.
So they had Bray versus The Undertaker after he had lost at WrestleMania to Brock. They had him face him a year after, I believe.
I think I remember that. Yeah.
So The Undertaker gets the win. To me, that was a complete mistake. They should have had Bray face off with The Undertaker in a build-up somehow where he was going to become the new Undertaker, and he was telling The Undertaker, I'm going to become the new Undertaker. I'm the new and improved this generation's Undertaker. And then once he pins The Undertaker, he kills and eats The Undertaker. No?
I mean,
too extreme, bro?
A little bit. I was with you till the killing. To the kill and eat The Undertaker.
How about he tears out something that looks like his heart and he eats it?
Okay.
And then he's the new Undertaker. And we have a new.
I'm in it.
Because look, I love The Undertaker. And you don't even have to call him The Undertaker. It's just, metaphysical or whatever. But, that's just a stupid idea that I had. A funny idea. Something I always tell Jesus. My Vince Russo idea, my always go-to idea. Why doesn't he fucking kill him and eat him?
I'm surprised. A friend of mine, like, my friend Cameron that I've told you about before, that got that super dope Randy Savage fucking Slim Jim doll. So he texted me not long after, a couple hours maybe after you did about the Bruce and Eric thing. He goes, at this point, I'm surprised they haven't fucking brought Russo back.
No, dude, no.
I don't want him to come back.
Dude, the more and more I hear something to wrestle with, dude, he credits him for a lot of good ideas.
He does.
He credits him for a lot of shit ideas. It's 50-50. It's hit or miss. It's 50-50.
But I think Bruce, of all people, give Vince more credit than anybody else. Cornette will never say Bruce Pritchard that Vince Russo ever had a good idea in his life. And I don't listen to 83 Weeks, so I really don't know Eric's standpoint on. I honestly don't care. I don't really like Bischoff all that much, really.
Well, I want to know what happened backstage because it says he left the company. It doesn't say he got fired, but it could just be to save face. He could have been that he did get fired because, well, I don't know, man. SmackDown. Well, I don't even know if he was running SmackDown. I know Heyman had been taken over for creative or like executive producer of Raw.
And I thought Eric was in the same.
I don't know if that was the same as. I know he was working backstage. I'm not 100% sure that it was the exact same thing as.
I could have swore he was.
Well, actually, no. I'm wrong because that's what Bruce Pritchard took over.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
so
thought
I'm
that
wrong.
was Eric's
Yeah.
job. So I think Eric either got fired or quit. I don't know.
I'm.
I don't think I don't think we'll ever find out
Mm-mm.
because he's not gonna reveal what happened on the podcast.
Oh no, I'm just hoping it doesn't affect the podcast, and it shouldn't because they talk about past stuff. Even when
I doubt it will
no,
because
even when
I mean it
Conrad
didn't.
ribs him, he's just like, ah, god damn it, let's just move on. I think he recently on a Taz one, he's like, so do you want to talk about the Hell in a Cell match? And he's like,
Oh
god
yeah, yeah,
damn
yeah. No. Well, they've always had that rule anyway that
it.
they don't talk. Even when Bruce wasn't working for the company, like they don't talk about current product
No,
anyway.
yeah,
So
they only talk about when Bruce is around
yeah,
because they even skip a bunch of the years.
yeah,
Um,
because Bruce isn't going to be able to give inside information on
mm-mm.
shit he doesn't know.
Yeah.
So I was like, I told you I picked up this new podcast. For anybody that's ever checked out any of the kayfabe commentaries, their host Sean Oliver has a podcast called the Kayfabe Podcast. First episode was with Conrad, and like this was before he started with Arn, and he kind of went in the descriptions of each podcast and like their kind of their roles and stuff and what they do, and he kind of described like him and Tony's podcast being akin to like a mystery science theater because it's just basically watching along with events and laughing at it. It was pretty fucking accurate. It's in a good way. Like it's just funny as shit. But I checked out Arn. I've listened to a few episodes of that now.
How many are there of his? This is brand new.
I think 3 so far, and I think the next one comes out on Monday,
Hmm.
or one just dropped yesterday, and they're on episode 4. But I've listened to 2 or 3 of them now. 3, so there is 4.
Okay.
It's a pretty good. It's a pretty good podcast. I
I'm
mean,
gonna check it out.
Arn's got to get comfortable. It's kind of like when Tony first started off,
Mm-hmm.
because like Bruce had done his own podcast for a little while and had done some radio and shit like that. So he's done that. Eric, same thing. So and JR, they're a little more comfortable. But like Arn, he's got a lot of good stories, and like it's his story. Like they're not covering. Like the first episode was him in the territories and when he first got to Jim Crockett Promotions. Second one was when him and Tully left and went to the WWE. And then they did an episode of when Arn retired, and so they kind of talked about both his speech, obviously, and then the infamous mocking of the speech by the NWO a week later. And they got into some detail on that too, which was kind of nice. I mean, you learn a lot of shit about Arn
Mm-hmm.
and like what was going on in the business then.
I might check one out tomorrow, depending on how many podcasts I have.
It's pretty entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. I threw it
'Cause-
on while I was playing fucking video games. So
Yeah, it's just I've been backlogging all of something to wrestle with.
yeah. See, I've already gone through. I'm farther ahead than you guys were when you guys obviously. So I've been through almost all of something to wrestle with, and I've listened to most of what happened when. So I'm like all caught up on shit. So now I'm looking for other podcasts to get in, and now it's just pretty much all wrestling. It's like when I went on this binge with MMA podcasts where like all I listened to was MMA podcasts, and I was just trying to find all kinds of different MMA podcasts. Right now, I'm just filling my time with wrestling, and there's a lot of good wrestling podcasts. I still like Jim Cornette's podcast.
God dang.
God damn, motherfucker.
We'll get to him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll definitely get to him in a minute.
So fuck it. Let's get into it. I
Let's
had you
fucking do
on because you're a big Legion of Doom fan.
Yeah. Favorite tag team probably of all time.
And I hadn't done a tag team episode, so here it is. First tag team episode, Legion of Doom. I want to have you on pretty much to ask you and see if you can fill in not some, but mostly all of the gaps that I have, because these guys were in their prime before I was born. They had most of their highlights before I was born, or even like up until 91, 92, 93. I was, 5?
Right.
Like I remember their later runs in the WWF or
Yeah.
WWE, but those were nothing to really
Nah.
talk about. Really, we'll brush over those, but
Even like their returns to WCW during the mid '90s were really nothing. It was like it was too far gone.
so they started off in Georgia Championship Wrestling, 1983. They had a run till 1984 there, and this was during the territory years. So the NWA Championship was the Georgia Championship Wrestling Tag Team Championships. That was pretty much the championships there. They won it 4 times, but apparently they got paired together by Ole Anderson. But this is after a pairing with Elrig back before this, right? Elrig paired them up together first, and then Ole paired them up here.
Paul Ellering, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Joe Laurinaitis, Animal, and Mike Hawkstra, I believe was Mike's last name, or Hawk, they grew up together in the same area. Just like, I think Chicago originally.
I did not know they were from Chicago, so when they're like,
Yeah.
hailing out of Chicago, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so they're from Chicago originally, and then they ended up in Minnesota.
Minnesota.
But like, so when they got going, they were like working. They came up around the same time as like, there's a lot of guys that came out of Minnesota. Ravishing Rick Rude, fucking Kurt Hennig, obviously, Barry Darsow. So those guys were all coming up. Barry Darsow was the Repo Man in the shitty gimmick era, but more well known as, Smash and Demolition, and was Killer Khrushchev or something like that in the 80s in WCW. Nikita Khrushchev, Nikita Khrushchev's cousin. I don't remember. He was a Russian for a while in the 80s too. But yeah, they were all like bodybuilders and bouncers and shit together.
Dude, these guys are fucking jacked.
Yeah, man.
Ridiculously big.
Yeah.
Especially Animal.
You want to learn a lot about those guys history-wise. The WWE did a really great documentary of them. It's on the network for Legion of Doom. It tells a lot of these stories. This shit about what they did working at this bar called Grandma B's, where all the guys that were training to become wrestlers and bodybuilders all worked together. From that fucking documentary. So the network's got some really good shit on the Legion of Doom.
Yeah, I should have checked that shit out beforehand. Yeah. But whatever.
I got you, brother. I got you.
I did check out those matches, though.
Yeah.
But we'll get to them. That's what we're leading into. So what was it? 83 and 84, they won the titles 4 times in Georgia Championship Wrestling. They joined the Legion of Doom there. That's Paul Elrig's stable with Jake the Snake Roberts and the Spoiler. Spoiler was a masked wrestler. I don't know who he is, but there was a Legion of Doom here. So this is where my confusion happens and where it all clears up for me right now.
Okay.
Whenever Legion of Doom and Road Warriors were thrown, I always confused one of those names with Demolition, and it always threw me off. I never connected the two together.
Gotcha.
I always knew they were there, but it was like, why were they called something different? The reason is here they joined the Legion of Doom as the Road Warriors, and they couldn't. Well, not that they couldn't, but Vince didn't want any more Warriors in WWF WWF at the time because they were pushing the Ultimate Warrior. So they didn't drop the Road Warriors names, but they called them the Legion of Doom. And actually, they didn't call them the Road Warriors there, right?
No, they didn't call them the Road Warriors because you know how Vince is. Unless he creates it, he doesn't want to use it. So they were known as the Road Warriors everywhere else before they came to the WWE. Famously, especially Jim Crockett Promotions and in Japan. And so instead of, I don't think Vince knew about the the Legion of Doom or some shit. Somehow Animal convinced him, because he wasn't going to use the Road Warriors. Animal convinced him to use the Legion of Doom.
Which would be the original 5.
Was that right? Right. So,
which is taken from DC, right?
Yes. Yeah, the super friends.
Which is pretty fucking awesome.
Meanwhile, back at the Legion of Doom.
Yeah, so that's where my confusion always happened. I didn't know why the name changed. It always confused me.
Vince.
Yeah.
Well, Demolition was created because he couldn't get the Road Warriors originally.
Mm-hmm. So after winning it 4 times there, they take off to AWA from 84 to 86. I think they were champions there for a year, but it might have been, it had to be long just because they were so popular. They dropped it, I don't know to who. Let's see. To Jimmy Garvin and Mr. Electricity Steve Regal.
Wow.
I guess they didn't have a fucking... Oh, okay, the Freebirds interfered, that's why.
Yeah.
So, I think in the AWA is where they had feuds with the Fabulous Ones and the Fabulous Freebirds at that time. And then 1985 to 1990 was their Japan run.
Yep.
I don't know how many titles they won there, but they just dominated. And this is where they became super famous, especially internationally wise.
Yep.
So 1990, but they were also jumping in between Jim Crockett promotions because that was allowed. There was a territory times.
Yeah.
So they weren't obligated to just do one promotion. They could do runs here when they were in the States, and then when they were out of the States, they would do runs in Japan.
And I think they helped broker some deals with like getting talent to work between the two as well, because like Vader was over in Japan. Stan Hansen was a big deal in Japan too, and he was working in Jim Crockett Promotions. So I think there was a really good working relationship, probably partially because of Terry Funk too.
Yeah. Eventually, one of those territories becomes WCW with Jim Crockett Promotions buying them out, and this is what'll lead us to our first match that me and Jeff are gonna be talking about and breaking down, which would be the Road Warriors versus
the Midnight Express.
Midnight Express. So I had never seen the Midnight Express, and I'm gonna go and check out one of their matches just because I don't think this one was a fair interpretation of what they can do.
No, definitely not. And I think this is the original Midnight Express?
It's Bobby Eaton and Dennis Condrey.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, but there was Stan Lane and Bobby Eaton and Dennis Condrey were the Midnight Express.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't remember if Condrey was first and then Stan Lane, or if it was Stan Lane and then Dennis Condrey. That's the only thing I don't know. Bobby Eaton is the consistent, because I don't think Stan and Dennis ever were teamed together as the Midnight.
Yeah, and Cornette is their manager, their heel manager.
With Big Bubba Rogers.
Okay.
AKA the Big Boss Man.
Oh, he was there?
Yeah, the big guy with that suit and the sunglasses on.
Didn't even fucking recognize him.
That's a young Boss Man.
And I have his action figure too. I have a Boss Man action figure.
That's big. I mean, that was when he was Big Bubba Rogers.
Okay.
But that is a young Ray Trailer.
So you know what's crazy? I did not know we were going to be talking about Cornette today. And today I listened to the Cornette episode on Something to Wrestle With, and I know why. And for all those listeners that aren't going to know why, because they're probably a lot younger, or if you guys don't know why, I never knew why Cornette carried a tennis racket. I never knew why. Like, Cornette's super old school, so like I never knew why he carried the racket. And today I listened to his episode, and Bruce Pritchard pretty much explained it, because he would be the rich boy that had the tennis racket, and he was in the South where they really didn't have, or he was playing to the poor people that didn't have money and didn't.
Yeah. He started in the Memphis territory, with it was Jerry Jarrett eventually, but originally it was his mom, Christine Jarrett's territory. and Jim started out like working for them, selling programs and shit like that. Then he became a photographer. Eventually became, but that was his gimmick. Was he was like the rich mama's boy or whatever.
Yep.
And Jim actually was well off.
I think he came out with like a sailor's hat and would dress like a sailor.
Yeah, he wore suits and shit like that, and that was like his original gimmick when he was younger, and he just kind of carried that on. And then that's when he started eventually managing the Midnight.
Yeah, so I found that pretty interesting and a funny coincidence. Yeah, that was like this is fucking awesome because I just that's the match that I left for today. Because I'm like, this is the shortest match.
Then he had it to crack motherfuckers with.
Yeah, I heard that. Well, Bruce Pritchard today said on this thing that he fucking swung that shit because back in the day, people believed all this. So the managers fucking when they drew heat. So people wanted to get at Cornette, especially for him playing up that heel manager gimmick. And apparently he would swing it to keep people away from him.
Dude, so Vice had done that series Dark Side of the Ring.
Mm-hmm.
That came out last year, and Jim Cornette was a contributor on that. And you can go on YouTube if you type in Dark Side of the Ring, and there's like a 3 or 4 minute video of where they go up to Jim's house, his room, because Jim has this gigantic collection of fucking wrestling memorabilia and shit like that goes all the way back to like the turn of the century and shit. It's probably the largest collection in the world.
Is it the one where he talks about the screw job and he goes back and he shows all the info like back? He shows all his memorabilia.
Well, yeah,
he's probably done it a bunch of times.
In that episode he does, but there's like just a little excerpt part that wasn't from that but was part of that.
Mm-hmm.
That is just like a little extra video that they put out on YouTube and stuff. But it shows Jim showing this racket that's got a fucking gigantic dent in the side of it. And he tells the story where one night a fan fucking came flying out at him, and he swung that racket as hard as he could and sideways cracked the dude right in the head with it. And it, it's still, he has it in the bag, everything like that, but he took it out and he put it up against his own forehead and you can see where it caved in by a human forehead. So shit's pretty funny.
Yeah, I need to go check out some Midnight Express matches because then they look corny, but they're super fucking famous. Midnight Express is a super popular tag team, apparently one of the best of all time.
Bobby Eaton was a fucking worker.
I know that name. I've heard it so many times. I need to go back and see his matches.
Bobby could work. He just didn't have the physique and the look. Yeah. He's like a classic. Right. He's a classic '80s wrestler for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, their feud with the Rock and Roll Express is legendary.
So it starts off, and Legion of Doom climbs up, or the Road Warriors climb up to the top right away. And
they said, did we mention this was a scaffold match?
I don't think so. So this is
I don't think we did.
No. Okay. Yeah. So this is they call it a Skywalker match, which is a scaffold match, which is literally what it sounds like. It's a scaffold set on that from the outside of the ring to the
catwalk across
it's a catwalk.
The scaffold,
and
15 feet in the air.
It's as high as the Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
It's scary as fuck because there's really no handles in the middle. Like it's just open.
It's open.
And it's like you can climb up and down. It is ladder like, but it's scary as fuck. When I first saw this, I'm like, what the hell, Jeff? I'm like, this isn't ECW, you fucking jerk. I'm like, you gotta prepare me for this shit.
Oh no.
And they play it off pretty awesomely. Road Warriors start off at the top. These guys don't want to climb up there. You hear Cornette right off the bat, like, God damn it, what the hell? Like, you want them to go up there? And like, he doesn't want them to go up there. He's like, this is crazy. I don't know why this is unfair. This match shouldn't even be happening. And eventually they climb up. Once they get up there, Road Warriors start shaking the scaffolding, and like it's pretty it flimsies up pretty good. Like it's pretty scary. And they can't go all out and do any crazy shit.
Fuck no, they can barely do anything.
Yeah. And pretty much it's Road Warriors beating the shit out of these guys until the Midnight Express hits them with the pocket sand. Shout outs to King of the Hill.
Powder.
Yeah, they bring out the powder. They each bring out the powder, and they throw the powder in Road Warrior's face. Animal and Hawk are blinded, and that's when these guys can get some offense going. Not much, though. You can never really get too much offense going on the Road Warriors. They usually power out of it.
No, yeah. You don't get much on the Road Warriors at all. Can we take a second to mention Tony Schiavone not only doing the fucking commentary, but was the ring announcer for this match.
Was he? I didn't even notice it.
Yeah,
He was double duty that night.
Tony did the ring announcing and then went out to do the commentating.
I forgot for what match we had Schiavone and JR. I was like, no way, am I watching AEW?
Several of them.
Yeah.
This match. Actually, I think maybe all 3 WCW matches that we watch have Tony and Jim together.
Maybe. We do 86, 87, and 89 Starrcade.
Starrcade 89, maybe not, because that might have been when Tony was gone to WWF.
Okay.
But 86 and 87 for sure is JR and Tony. Because at first I didn't recognize JR's voice, because this is like obviously long before the Bell's palsy. So
yeah.
He sounds very different.
Yeah, so it's Animal and Hawk pretty much beating the shit out of these guys, the dust in the eyes. Bobby Eaton is hanging from the scaffolding like a monkey, swings over to the like that. I thought that was pretty funny, pretty interesting.
Yeah, they have rungs underneath the bottom of it like a monkey bar.
Yeah, he's holding on to Animal's leg, but he swings over, gets away, climbs back up, and then Animal starts beating Eaton up top. Dennis is hanging from the bottom platform. It's just a crazy scene.
So the gimmick of the match is both members of the team have to fall off or be dropped off the scaffolding for you to win. So that's the object. Knock the motherfucker off.
Yeah. So they Midnight Express can't really do anything while they're up top the scaffolding and these guys are on their legs. So they start climbing down, which leads to Animal and Hawk following these guys. And eventually all 4 are hanging off of the scaffolding, like pretty much off the bottom. And this is when the Road Warriors start kicking Midnight Express. It's pretty much the end of the match. They're all monkey barring it, and fucking Road Warriors just start fucking kicking the shit out of Midnight Express, knock both Bobby Eaton and Dennis off of the scaffolding. And I don't know how they don't blow their knees out, and this is how you can tell they're professionals, because they don't. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
For those people that don't know. So yeah, that means the Road Warriors win. Paul Elrig gets the tennis racket, the golden tennis racket, and they start chasing Jim Cornette, which, if I didn't mention, is the Midnight Express's longtime manager. He's known for being their manager throughout this whole time. Was the Midnight Express heel the whole time?
Yeah.
I always thought they were like a babyface tag team.
No, that's the Rock and Roll Express.
That's the Rock and Roll Express. Okay.
Yeah, the Rock and Roll Express were like the super white meat babyface, and the Midnight because of Jim. I mean, Bobby Eaton could get over as a babyface, and I think he was a babyface when he was in singles at a point in the 80s. But the Midnight were definitely heels.
So yeah, they chase Cornette, Hawk, and Paul Elrig do, and Animal's waiting up top. So he runs right into Hawk. They get into a little bit of a grappling match, and Cornette hangs down like the monkey bars, and he's not a professional. And he drops and blows out both of his knees.
Well, here's the thing. Well, yeah, he blew them the fuck out. But the thing is like,
this wasn't supposed to happen.
It wasn't supposed to happen like that. Bubba was supposed to catch him.
Oh, yeah, right?
And he was just out of place.
But
And
dude, Cornette's big as fuck though.
I mean, yeah, it wouldn't have. It would have fucking fucked them both up, but Cornette wouldn't have blown out both his knees.
And dude, you could tell right away he's fucked, and he's yelling it.
Oh yeah,
He's yelling. He's like my knees, both of them, and he's like,
yeah.
God
There's
damn.
no kayfabe in it. Oh, Bubba, carry me.
Yeah, and they carry him out of there, and he's just yelling the whole time. It sucks, but it's hilarious. It's hilarious looking at it.
You want to hear something crazy about that match? Hawk worked that shit with a broken leg.
God damn.
Yeah, man. I forgot about that shit. Because I thought, I went to look up to see if, because obviously I knew about Cornette. But I was looking up to see if, because the way Dennis Condrey fell, it looked like he broke something. Like his arm, he was grabbing at his arm and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I checked out to see what the aftermath of that was. And I was reading excerpts from an interview that Animal did, where he was talking about that Bubba was supposed to catch him and all this other shit, but he said, yeah, Hawk worked with a broken leg.
God damn, dude.
Yeah,
I had a
man.
broken leg. That's just no joke. But mine was like completely snapped in half.
Yeah, I think it
Both
was like a fracture or some shit
Still,
like that.
man.
But yeah, either way, yeah. To be up on a
fractured my wrist before.
15-foot fucking scaffold with a broken bone in your leg. Motherfucker.
Fuck.
That's why I picked that match, because of the fucking Cornette falling and blowing his knee out.
Yeah, which is awesome. When I downloaded the Cornette episode today in the morning, I didn't go looking for it. That was one of the ones that was just coming up in order. I think it was after the Owen one, which I just listened to.
Yeah, that one's hard.
Yeah. Let's see. After their Cornette, well, this is 86. So I guess we could just skip ahead to 87 a year later.
Sure. I don't have anything else on 86.
Our next match would be they're just pretty dominant. Like they're super popular fucking tag team.
By this time, like that's it. I mean, it's always kind of been that way. Like the Road Warriors barely ever got beat. It was just the way it was, and so you're not gonna watch these matches looking for super technical shit or the most exciting matches in the world, but it's just
ring psychology, tag team mentality, tag team work, just good work put together by two guys that, well, I guess we'll talk about it more as we get into the matches themselves. Just
super over everywhere they went. I mean, the term Road Warrior pop exists for a reason. Like everybody always talks about that Road Warrior pop or the Legion of Doom pop when that fucking music hits and the entire arena goes ape shit. And nobody else got a pop like that before. Fucking Road Warriors pop.
I wish I could have been around. Well, I'm watching it now, and you can definitely hear the pop in the crowd.
For sure.
Opposed to other tag teams at that time that were super popular. It's bigger, if not equal to.
It's just another level. I mean, it was another level for almost any era of wrestling, really. But I mean, outside of like maybe Stone Cold, I don't.
Yeah, like I said, we're just gonna jump to Starrcade 87 because they're working Japan. We didn't do any of the Japan matches, but like in 87 as well, they're NWA champions over in Japan. But yeah, no, the next match.
I'm honestly not that familiar with a lot of their Japanese work. I haven't watched a ton of Road Warriors Japanese. I haven't watched a ton of like Japanese wrestling. Period.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Not that it's not good, but it's just harder, especially at this time in the 80s.
Yeah,
exactly. How we're supposed to get it. But another super dominant over there, taking out their champions in like 4 minutes. They were just destroying, and this is at the same time like 85 through 90. They're just dominating in all of the promotions that they're going to. WCW, New Japan, back to the States, and other promotions, and the NWA. They're just going everywhere, everywhere, and just destroying everybody, which will lead us to our next match, which is another badass tag team. I picked this one. I wanted to see this one because I've been hearing a lot about Arn and seeing Tully on TV recently. I picked the Brainbusters in '87, Starrcade '87. Road Warriors versus the Brainbusters. Arn and Tully. I have their action figures. I really want to open that package, but it's the Four Horsemen pack. I don't want to open. I'm just gonna leave it sealed. I got it. People didn't know who they were.
Four Horsemen, baby.
People didn't know who they were, so no one would buy it. A $40 pack. I got it for $14.
That's what's up.
Yeah. I was like, what? I'm like, let alone just get it for the Ric Flair guys. Come on. Like,
is that Barry or it's Barry, right?
Yeah,
in that pack? Okay.
Yeah. Arn, Tully, Barry, and Flair.
Yeah,
none of the belts though.
Really?
I think that's because they probably don't have some of the rights to
the NWA belts.
Yeah, some of the NWA belts.
Billy Corgan owns those.
Yeah, so to get proper image of those, they couldn't do it. They would have to put the new fucking United States.
Yeah, Barry never held any titles in WWE that I can remember.
No. Even when he came over, they switched his gimmick and it never took off.
He
was the stalker, and they put camo on him.
Barry had so many different gimmicks, man. They tried the new blackjacks,
which kind of worked out for him, didn't it? As one of the blackjacks.
But it was more of a pushing point for JBL than it was for Barry. Mm-hmm. But it was just creating off the fact that Barry's dad was a member of the Blackjacks.
So we have Arn and Tully here, badass tag team from back in the day. I need to go back and watch a lot more of their matches, but this is a pretty badass match. Arn and Hawk started off. AA quickly getting gorilla pressed and going onto the outside, and he's like, "Fuck this." They use a lot of the heel mentality, like stalling the match by going outside, rolling outside, and letting them come at them. But Road Warriors are not having any of that. They work fast, and they work quick and strong, and they're going to beat your ass. Yeah, so fucking Animal comes up from behind, attacks fucking Arn, throws him back in. Let's see. Pretty much they isolate Hawk.
Yeah, that's usually
what happens. They
that's
they
the
isolate
pattern.
Hawk.
Yeah, you go after Hawk and isolate him.
If I'm not mistaken, I can't find it. I couldn't highlight it in this one. Hawk goes up for a gorilla press slam, and Arn attacks the knee. He shoulder tackles the knee. He drops Tully, and then this is where the Brainbusters begin work on Hawk's leg, and they start isolating him, and they start locking the leg up, putting figure fours in it, dropping the elbows on it, and just really trying to work on it a lot. And they isolate him for a while. Animal's out for a long time, wanting to tag. They're building this hot tag.
Yeah, they're building for that hot tag. Big time building. Came close a couple times, and then obviously great ring generalship by Arn and Tully to cut him off and distract the referee.
They even distract the referee to a point where I think it's Arn hits Hawk's leg with the chair on the outside.
Yep.
Yeah.
Referee Tommy Young.
Mm-hmm. Finally, Animal gets the hot tag. You get some offense in. Let's see. Pretty much Tully then pulls Animal's leg, stopping the momentum when he gets the hot tag. Animal gets pissed and he starts chasing Tully around the ring. Tully runs in and gets shoved into the ref. The ref gets knocked out. Yeah. And the Road Warriors hit the Doomsday device, but the ref is out. And then they get the 3 count by a different ref, and they're champions. But then the ref that got knocked out calls it off and reverses the call and says because the Road Warriors tossed Arn and Tully over the top ropes, that's illegal. He was out. He didn't see the count.
Yep, there's a disqualification to throw your opponent over the top rope.
I was pissed off, dude. I was like, what the fuck is this shit about? Like, I was pissed, but then I calmed down for a second, took a bull hit, and then remembered that this is 1987.
And I believe it's the Watts era.
This is definitely a rule. This is something that would be implemented. And it's just old lingering rules from back in the day, different territorial shit that they have to set them apart. And this is just what it was at that time.
It wasn't. No, I'm wrong. It wasn't the Bill Watts era, but that was coming later. And Bill Watts made it illegal to do maneuvers off the top rope. So,
okay. So this was just a way to have the Road Warriors win, keep them hot, but also not take the titles off of the Brainbusters.
Yep.
And they're heels, so it doesn't matter. They can get out of there. As long as they have the titles, it's all good for them. And
keep the rivalry going and build the heat.
Mm-hmm. So I was kind of pissed at first, but then I realized, like, okay, this is just how it is. You know, this is wrestling.
Welcome to Down South Wrestling.
Yeah, welcome to Down South Wrestling. All in all, a great match, and if that's how they did the finish, that's how they did the finish. If that's how the rules were, that's how the rules were. I can't change the rules on that.
That was probably Dusty probably still had the book, so that was a Dusty finish.
Probably. Funky like a monkey, baby.
Get funky like a monkey, baby. The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Hard times, Daddy. Hard times.
We're going to jump to Starrcade 1989.
Ooh.
Where they take on the Steiner brothers. But this is a tournament.
Yeah. Did you watch any other tournament matches?
No.
Or you just, okay.
I just watched this one. But so later on, well, I did read what happens and how the...
I just wondered if you watched like the match.
I wanted to, but I didn't have enough time. I'm like, oh shit, I should have.
The Steiners match before that match where they wrestled Doom, but it was before Doom was. They were just Doom, so that you didn't know it was Ron Simmons and Butch Reed. They were wearing fucking masks. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's one of the earlier ones.
Yeah, very. Woman was their manager.
Yeah, so this was another good one, though. For being a short match, the Steiners and the Road Warriors put in some good work. They're fast workers, and we have quick exchanges between Hawk and Scott. They both get the tag, and then Rick and Animal are in there, and there's like a test of strength between the both of them because those two are the big guys. Animal and Rick are the
Which is funny because Scott's bigger than Rick.
Yeah, and eventually became the fucking genetic freak.
Jesus. The big booty voodoo daddy.
Yeah. The big booty voodoo. Holla if you hear me. Is that what it was?
Big Papa Pump got your hook up. Holla if you hear me. Yeah. And then the sirens.
Rick Steiner with the sweet ass Jerry curl.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like right after. I think the Road Warriors had some feuds with the Varsity Club, which are worth checking out. Ricky was a member of the Varsity Club, so was Mike Rotundo, a.k.a. IRS, a.k.a. Bray Wyatt's dad. Kevin Sullivan. So, yeah, check some of those matches out too. But, yeah, Ricky with that goddamn sweet Jerry curl.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet.
Bay City, Michigan, baby.
Yeah, isn't that your tag team, though? The Steiners?
They're another one of my favorite tag teams, yeah. Yeah, the LOD and the Steiners were, like, the reasons why I loved tag team wrestling as much as I did. I came up in an era with really good tag team wrestling, man.
I came in, and they were doing ECW stuff with the tag team matches, so that's how they elevated the tag team division. I did have good tag team wrestling, but you had more match psychology.
I had before Vince completely buried tag team wrestling altogether. Mm-hmm. Is really what it boiled down to.
Yeah, because there's just a lot of psychology in this one. It's so you'll have Hawk hit a move, and then you'll have like Rick stop it, or you'll have Animal hit like a belly to belly. Rick comes in, stops it, and then when Rick's in there right after this, he hits a belly to belly, and then Animal comes in and stops him from getting a 2 count or from getting a 3 count. So they only get a 2. And it's just quick back and forth. Scott hits a sweet belly to belly off the top rope, but this is the second time I've almost seen him kill somebody.
Dude, I know. Yeah. I was gonna bring that up. Like he came he threw Hawk right on his fucking head.
Yeah. I've seen him do it with a Hurricanrana too, but that was the last time I've seen him do the Hurricanrana, which is good, or as he calls it, the Frankensteiner. Animal gets a tag, bear hugs Scott, but then eventually Scott Steiner's the one that's being isolated by the Road Warriors. They hit kind of a modified Doomsday device.
Yeah, I don't understand. I for some reason the only thing I can think of is Scott said, "No fucking way, I'm taking the Doomsday device," which is hilarious because you almost fucking threw the dude on his head.
Yeah,
but Hawk and Animal also kind of had a reputation of being a little reckless.
Well, I heard a lot of tag teams. Something I wanted to bring up during the scaffolding match. During that era, a lot of tag teams would just fucking take their shit and leave when they saw that they were paired up with these guys. They're like,
oh, especially if you were a jobber team or an enhancement talent. Oh, those guys would beat the shit out of you. But you see sometimes when they go for the Doomsday device, like Animal will definitely throws the guy's legs up harder as Hawk fucking hits him. So they launch motherfuckers.
Yeah. So this was like I mentioned, the modified Doomsday device. Hawk.
Yeah, a bullshit modified Doomsday device.
So Animal picks up Scott. Yeah, I think it's Scott, and it's kind of like he's gonna backdrop him, but he kind of just holds him there, and Hawk hits his elbow, or not his elbow, but his forearm, and it's kind of leading into the finish, which is it's kind of like a German. Well, it leads into the bridge. They bridge it out into the pin. 1, 2, but Scott gets the shoulder up, and Animal doesn't, and it's a 3 count on Animal. Kind of a weird finish.
Wonky, for sure.
Which leads to the Steiner brothers advancing because this is a tournament.
Well, it's a tournament, but it's a round robin tournament, and it's all points.
Yeah, so this is weird. So they would do stuff like this.
Everybody
in WCW.
wrestled everybody, pretty much, and you got points. So many points for a pin, so many points for a disqualification, so many points for a count out, because the Steiners beat Doom by count out. So I think they only got like 15 points for that. You get 20 for a pin, I believe, or some shit. I kind of watched a couple of matches. I couldn't watch that whole thing, but I watched a few. So I kind of was starting to grasp.
Okay, yeah. It's weird. They have like a point system, like you mentioned. The Iron Man and Iron Team tournaments were round-robin tournaments featuring 4 competing individuals and tag teams, respectively. The point system: 20 points for a pinfall or submission victory, 15 for a countout victory, 10 for disqualification victory, 5 for a time limit draw, and 0 for a loss.
Gotcha.
Later on, the Steiners would be disqualified against the Wild Samoans. So eventually the point system, if you guys really want to know how it ends up, Road Warriors have 40, Steiner Brothers have 35, and the new Wild Samoans have 30. Doom has 0. There was also a 4-man tournament, singles.
4-man tournament.
Singles.
Yeah.
Sting,
Great
Luger,
Muta,
Ric
Sting,
Flair,
and
Great
Luger.
Muta. Poor Great Muta. 0 points.
Great Muta with Gary Hart.
He had 0 points. Ric Flair had 25. Luger 35. Sting 40.
Gary Hart, baby. I was just talking about Gary Hart last week on our show. He's that manager that I was saying, that guy from Contra, the Contra thing from MLW reminded me of. Old school, baby. Gary Hart.
Oh yeah. So that was the end for our Starrcades.
Boom.
Next was
That's
a match picked by you, 91, which is when they make their way to the WWF. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, well, because it's the Hart Foundation and it's Wrestlefest. Was this a pay per view? I forgot if I found it under the. No, I had to type it in because I didn't want to just go look for it.
it was like one of those Coliseum home video releases that they did in the 80s.
What does that mean? Just piece together?
Yeah, so Coliseum home video was Titan Sports' like home video distributing company.
Mm-hmm.
And so on top of the pay-per-views, like every so often they would put together these compilation matches from like a certain, basically they're like house show matches essentially,
Okay.
but they were like superstar tapings and stuff like that, because that's where they did like their Saturday and Sundays Mania or whatever, and Superstars and whatever their other shows that they used to show house show matches basically, before they had Raw and all that other shit. You had like some bullshit shows on the weekends that you got to see house show recaps,
Okay.
and that's where some of these matches came from.
All right. So we have the Hart Foundation versus the Legion of Doom. No titles are on the line, right? This would lead.
No, this was before. Yeah, this was before Legion of Doom gets a shot at the championship.
Okay. Anvil and Animal started off, the two big guys. Well, Brett's the odd man out. He's the only small dude in this match.
The Rhino.
Yeah, the Rhino had to start this match off.
The big old Rhino. Yeah, you got a job for the Rhino.
Yeah, this is definitely a job for the Rhino versus Animal. So they kind of they shoulder tackle each other. They can't get each other down. They're trying to outmuscle each other. Hart Foundation's heel here though. Legion of Doom super over. Hart Foundation. I don't know if they were necessarily heel, but they're using heel tactics because Brett gives the glasses to a kid.
They were a heel. They were initially a heel team when they first came in, and they were transitioning in between like face, but this was also like near the end of their run as a tag team.
These guys can't get anything going, and by these guys I mean the Hart Foundation can't get anything going against Animal and Hawk. They just they'll get a move off, and Animal and Hawk they'll just blow through it. Like you said, they work stiff. They don't sell much, so the Hart Foundation has to work with that. Hawk gets thrown against the ropes. Brett uses a double team. Knees him in the back, and this is how we start the offense for the Hart Foundation. This is how we start the momentum build for the Hart Foundation. They weren't able to get anything else, so Brett goes in there illegally. Well, not illegally, but the ref doesn't like it. It's heel. God damn it.
He's a heel, motherfucker.
Yeah, motherfucker. Anvil starts to cut off the ring at this point, and they begin to tag in and out. Allowing Brett to lock in his headlocks, start attacking him in the abdomen, just getting his Brett offense, the elbow off the top or off the second rope.
Second rope elbow.
Yeah.
The inverted atomic drop.
Mm-hmm.
The Bret Hart stable.
And, they keep teasing the tag. Brett will run in and stop them from, will stop Hawk from getting the tag on Animal. And Animal, again, is the guy on the outside waiting for the hot tag to get the offense going. It's always the same thing with these guys. Like we mentioned, the recipe is always the same. If it works, why
it's
change
a pattern.
Keep feeding them if they want it. Yeah, keep feeding them what they want. Anvil stops a Doomsday Device attempt on Brett. Let's see. Anvil tosses Brett. Okay. This leads to the finisher where the Hart Foundation's trying to tag team against Animal. Hawk's on the outside. They've fucked up Hawk. He's on the outside. Anvil grabs Brett and he's gonna toss him into Animal, which is one of their moves, but Animal catches him, power slams Brett, and goes for the pin. Hawk is on the outside of the apron, grabs Anvil's leg and holds him there, and this is how we get the 3 count. We don't get the Doomsday Device finish.
Yeah.
We get a power slam finish, which is believable because it's off the top rope, and it's sold pretty well. It's off the top rope, tossed by Anvil, caught by Animal, slam, and then this guy holds him back. And by this guy, I mean Hawk.
I'm trying to think. Did we get a Doomsday Device in any of these matches? Like a legit one?
I'm pretty sure we did. Yeah. We got one in the next match against the Nasty Boys.
Okay, I couldn't remember if they did hit that one or if it was another schmoz finish or whatever.
That one's pretty impressive too against the big fucks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Hawk holds back Anvil, and we get the 3 count. They take out the Hart Foundation,
and then give me the belt.
Yeah. So this is what's going to lead them to SummerSlam.
Yeah. It's leading up to SummerSlam. Yeah.
Well, they had the champions before, right? They went in as champions.
Not in the WWF.
No.
That's was the only organization at that time that they hadn't won championships in.
Okay. Let's see.
I guess, yeah. At that point, I don't know. Technically, I guess they hadn't won WCW gold, but they won the NWA.
That line is kind of blurry with the NWA and WCW. And
I'm pretty sure they ended up going to WCW in the 90s and getting it anyway, so.
96, yeah. I don't know if they won the titles, but they were there.
I know, they were there in 96. I can't remember if they won the titles or not. I think they feuded with Harlem Heat.
Let's see. What match would be next? So 91 would be
91.
Against the Nasty Boys.
As nasty as we want to be.
So I've always
the Nasty Boys.
I've hated them up until recently, just because I've never seen them. I wasn't around for their era, so just the little bit I've heard of them or seen them, I was like, "Fuck those guys! They seem like a shitty ass tag team." And going back and watching it, they play their part.
They're all right. I hated them because they were the heel tag team.
Yeah.
Super heel, nasty, fucking assholes, dirty, feuding with all my favorite teams. So, yeah, fuck them. But Knobs and Sag were a good team.
Yeah, they had. I don't know how many times they had the titles, but they held the titles a bunch.
Multiple, yeah.
In WWF, WCW. Let's see. Yeah. So, I'm sorry, I'm high as shit. Was this for the titles or no? No, right?
Yes.
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 SummerSlam 91.
No holds barred, or not no holds barred. No DQ match for the titles.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sags and Brian Knobbs are tag team champions. They have Jimmy Hart in their corner. Legion of Doom does not have Paul Elric here.
No, this was like the time period. I don't think Paul had come in with the Legion of Doom yet. Paul didn't come. He didn't come in with the Legion of Doom when they came over to the WWE. He came in later, which we'll get to in our last match we'll cover, but
okay, so LOD starts off real quick attacking the Nasty Boys, like you mentioned. It's a street fight, no DQ. The Nasty Boys can't really do anything. They're just stopping the 3 count. But what I found really weird was this is a no DQ match, but the Nasty Boys and Legion of Doom are abiding by the tag team tagging rule of staying on the apron.
Well, that rule still exists. You gotta tag in, bro. You can't. You can do whatever you want to the person. Because I think part of the problem, like the buildup of this, was like the Nasty Boys kept getting themselves disqualified, and obviously the titles don't change hands on a disqualification. So that was like their saving grace of protecting themselves from losing the title.
Okay,
it's like the old fucking Ric Flair, get yourself counted out. Title doesn't change hands on a count out.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I thought that was kind of weird, but that makes sense, I guess. It makes
much
sense
why.
because it would just be wild. It would just be everyone going at it, which is kind of what I wanted, but whatever.
That's because you're a product of the Attitude Era where there were no rules.
Yes.
This is the '90s, Rafa.
Where you abide by rules.
You still had rules and things you had to follow. The referee kept order. Damn it.
Mm-hmm. Hawk is being beat up and worn down by the Nasty Boys. Because he got hit with like a beverage cooler of sorts in the back, and they start.
Oh, shit! Sorry, a container full of fucking pops.
Mm-hmm. And then they begin their work on him again, using the tags in and out, and working on Hawk. And then Animal's just waiting for the hot tag. Once Animal gets the hot tag, he cleans house, but then he gets hit with I forget whose helmet it is. Is it Jimmy Hart's helmet? I don't know why there's a helmet there.
I think it's Sags' helmet, but Jimmy Hart threw it in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't fucking know. Jimmy Hart threw the helmet in. It's part of the no disqualification, bro.
Yep.
I think that had played some part in the build-up as well. The helmet part of them getting disqualified. I have to remember because I haven't seen this match in particular in a long time either.
Mm-hmm.
I remember this. It was part of the era when I first started watching, I think, but I can't remember the whole storyline build up of this, and it's hard to go back and watch because it was build up on Superstars, shit like that, Mania. There was no Raw, there was no consistent thing back in the day like that, except for these house show match TV shows where no shotgun, yeah, where they just they go out and they film even Wrestlefest, those matches, the commentary and shit was all done in studio. There was no commentator at that match. Those guys weren't there live. They fucking piped that shit in later.
Hawk hits Jimmy Hart, takes the helmet, hits Knobs, and that's what takes Knobs out of the picture. LOD sets up Sags for the Doomsday device, and this is where we actually see the Doomsday devices. Animal props up the other opponent on his shoulders. He's sitting there. Hawk will get up on the top rope, and he goes and he clotheslines him, and they do a crazy flip, which Sags actually executed.
Yeah, that was when Animal fucking threw his legs up real high.
He got it with fucking that big ass dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, flipped them around pretty nicely. Pretty awesome match. Like I said, I hadn't seen these matches. I was 3 years old. I just picked it because I thought it would be a good match.
Good pick on your part.
Mm-hmm. And then this would bring us to our last match, right?
Yeah.
Versus Money Inc. Money, 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 money.
SummerSlam 1992 from Wembley Stadium. Where your main event isn't even the world title match.
Was it this one? Was it was this the main event?
No, the main event was Brett and Davey Boy.
Intercontinental Championship, right?
Yep.
Pretty sure I've broken that match down by itself.
For sure.
It's one of Brett's best matches because I haven't done Davey Boy yet.
Yeah, that's definitely easily one of Brett's best matches ever.
So here's what I wanted to ask you. Let's see if what's up with Rocco?
The mascot.
So I'll tell you what I know real quick. I just know Legion of Doom hates him. I heard he was placed there to kind of fuck with the Legion of Doom. I don't know why. I don't know why they were trying to fuck with the Legion of Doom. And
Vince was trying to sell shit to kids.
Yeah, and then they accidentally lost it. That's all I know.
Yeah, essentially. There's no real rhyme. There's no real rhyme or reason.
How long was he around?
Not long. The build-up of this, because that's when Paul Ellering came back.
He came back with Rocco?
Yeah, or shortly Rocco came in shortly after, but Paul, the reason Paul came in was because of this feud with Money Inc. Because Jimmy Hart kept getting involved in shit and kept getting involved, so they brought Paul back to even the odds.
And this was more an even match than I would say any of the other matches that we broke down today. More back and forth.
For sure.
I don't know how good of a tag team IRS and Ted DiBiase are. So Mike Rotunda.
Oh, a great tag team.
Yeah, Mike Rotunda, like I said, we are going to mention him earlier, father of Bray Wyatt and, what's his name?
Bo Dallas.
Bo Dallas. There we go. I couldn't think of it. Yeah, father of those two guys. He was IRS man. Money
Inc. VK Wall Street, Michael Wall Street, and WCW. And like I said earlier, also a member of the Varsity Club with Rick Steiner and Dr. Death Steve Williams and Kevin Sullivan. And married Barry fucking Windham's sister.
Damn, I didn't know that one. There's wrestling in that blood.
Well, so Bray and Bo are both fucking Wyndham's and Mike Rotunda's kid, obviously, but they're also part of the Wyndham family.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So there's wrestling in that blood for sure.
So where would you say LOD would be at their career here? Because they bring them back into the WWF, but they bring them back as the Legion of Doom because they don't want to use the Road Warriors because there's too many. They're pushing the Warrior at this time. Well, the Warrior's a thing at this time, so they don't want that many Warriors.
Right. Well, they were always, I mean, they were Legion of Doom for their whole WWE run, all their WWE runs. The only reason I think really now that they acknowledge the Road Warrior part of it is because they're acknowledging everybody's career all over the place. But yeah, they were the Legion of Doom for their entire WWF run from start to finish, and even when they came back in the 90s and 2000s and shit. The peak it definitely, or the prime Road Warriors that happened. This is like I don't want to say the end because obviously they came back, but kind of the end.
Mm-hmm.
Because like after this, they would do Japan for a little while, and then they floundered around in the Indies. Hawk was working as a singles wrestler. He was in ECW at a point.
So in 92, this is 92.
Yeah,
I guess they have a limited run in the WWF. They
weren't there that long.
One of them leaves in 92. We'll get into the match right now. But
Hawk
leaves. Yeah, Hawk leaves the WWF in 92, traveled to Japan, started working for New Japan Pro Wrestling, where he quickly teamed up with a young Mick Carter, Kensuke Sasaki, who they soon dubbed Power Warrior.
That's right.
As he adapted the trademark Road Warrior face paint and shoulder pads spiked, and the duo was dubbed the Hellraisers. They carried on the legacy of the Road Warriors. I think Hawk might have been suffering from his demons at this time.
Oh yeah, big time.
So I think this is why Hawk
started it, or not
no,
started it.
This is Hawk.
Yeah,
Where's
I think
Animal.
I think Animal was. He might have been working for the WWF, like at backstage and shit at this time, but I'm not sure.
Just not wrestling?
No, I don't believe so.
All right, yeah. So
I don't remember. He might have done like maybe a match singles in WWF, but I don't remember off the top of my head. They
returned to WCW in 96.
Yep, and then they come back to the WWF. That was real short, and I think it was only just to win the WCW tag team titles.
They didn't win them.
No, they didn't.
They failed to win the titles, but apparently they had several shots and they failed to win any of them.
Okay. Eric Bischoff wouldn't put them over.
Mm-hmm. No. Yeah, no, that's about it. Well, they returned in 97 and 98, but that was a later on run.
Yeah. Then they tried the LOD 2000, and then
Oh,
Hawk.
yeah.
And then Hawk with his drug problems, and then eventually Hawk died. R.I.P.
Because of heart failure, right?
Yeah,
It wasn't an overdose or anything. It was heart failure, but it was due to the excessive,
due to the drugs.
excessive drugs and alcohol abuse. Um, Later on, I want to run through this so we can talk about the match and end on a lighter note. But later on, Animal teams up with Heidenreich and they win the SmackDown Championships at the time, and they dedicate it to Hawk. When was this? Was that LOD 2000?
No, LOD
No. It was them
2000.
just coming
LOD
back with
2000.
different face paint, right?
They came back, and then they brought in Draws
Oh, okay, yeah.
as a third member, and then they tried to do that angle with Hawk like being too fucked up to wrestle and falling off the back of the Titantron and all this other shit. Dumb Vince Russo bullshit.
Yeah.
Just burying Hawk, and then it wasn't long after that he died.
Yeah, 93.
Hmm.
He died. LOD 2005 to okay, the 2005 to 2006 is when he teamed with Heidenreich, and that's when they won.
Yeah, and I think Hawk died in like 2003.
Yeah, 2003. So 3 years later, he wins it, dedicates it to Hawk. But let's go back and talk about the last match. Was the Money Inc. match versus LOD, which they were still very, very popular at this time.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
maybe it might have been it might have been starting their slide, but it was.
When they left the WWE, they were still on. I think they were still on at a peak popularity, for sure. I mean, the you hear it there, and they're over in England. The Road Warrior pop was still alive and kicking when they left the WWF. I think it was just because they wanted more money and to work less dates.
Mm-hmm.
And Vince was like, because that was the time too, the when they weren't, Hogan had left,
brother,
and they weren't making a ton of money. The new before the new generation thing, and before they tried to bring Hogan back a couple years later in '93. But
I think definitely them splitting up really fucked them up in 90
for sure.
92 when Hawk left to Japan, and then started teaming with, and then made the Hellraisers.
He wrestled in ECW for a little while too, like Eastern Championship Wrestling, I think.
Yeah, so back in 92, SummerSlam 92, Money Inc., LOD. LOD comes out on their bikes.
Yeah.
Paul Elric comes out on his with a puppet. That's Rocco. I didn't mention that he was a puppet. That's why I asked Jeff, what the hell was going on?
I got nothing, bro. I really don't have an answer for that.
Yeah, so Rocco's a puppet strapped to the front of Elrig's bike. He speaks by himself. He does the what a rush.
Well,
yeah, it's just really weird, the puppet.
Yeah.
Really, really weird. Funny, like we mentioned, it was funny that they got rid of it by accident. Well, it accidentally disappeared, but they definitely, Animal and Hawk definitely expressed that they hated that shit.
Yeah. It was a stupid gimmick. Yeah. Probably a Bruce Pritchard idea.
Maybe. It may be. Ted DiBiase.
Bruce and Animal were kind of close, I think. Anyway, sorry.
Ted DiBiase starts off by chopping, I think it was Hawk. It always seems to be Hawk. In the chest. Did he get screwed with press slam? No. Let's see. So this is where the crowd is going super crazy with LOD chants.
Going banana.
Yeah, going banana. It's something I noted down. Just something to go check out how popular and how over this tag team was. Even like towards the end of their popularity. Like
The
it was.
pop, baby, the Road Warrior pop.
I think it was only
It's
them splitting up that really fucked them up.
it was. It was them and that, and they just wanted more. They wanted more money. I think Hawk wanted to go get more money in Japan, and Animal was kind of trying to stay loyal to Vince. I don't know, because obviously it worked out because Animal got a job backstage as an agent,
Yeah.
and then was able to get his brother a job.
Mm-hmm. So we have like kind of an equal exchange of offenses. We have the Road Warriors trying to get the Gorilla Press slams, trying to get their power moves, brawling with these guys. Ted DiBiase will go outside, stall, but then get tossed back in. IRS comes in, eventually locks in a sleeper on Hawk, and then we get a long, drawn-out battle where Hawk battles a sleeper, and we get the count, which they don't do anymore. Now, if it falls once, I think you're out. They don't even do the three fall anymore on the sleepers, which I don't think they even check anymore. Let's see. Hawk misses a top rope dive, his patented shoulder tackle bump off the top. He rolls to the outside, and this is how they're able to isolate Hawk, because the Road Warriors were getting their offense off, but IRS slips out of the way, which leads to, like I mentioned, this guy diving, hitting the mat, diving to the outside. They start tagging in and out. It's a very similar story.
I was gonna say it's a pretty prototypical Road Warriors match.
Mm. Usually the finish is where they switch it up.
Yep. Yeah, unfortunately, like I said earlier, you're not getting a lot of exciting moments out of the Legion of Doom, but it was just
the thing is, their offense is super fan friendly. It's
for sure.
Power slams. It's just throwing fists. It's just stiff offense by them. They're not really selling anything, and it's usually Hawk taking a beating, and then Animal comes in with the super hot tag.
Oh, and it's the whole package of them. You know what I mean? Like that's what got them over. It wasn't just like you got the music. Because even back when they were in WCW, like they used to come out to like Black Sabbath and shit like that. The paint, the shoulder pads, the spikes, the promos, they're always yelling and shit.
Yeah, so it like I said, it's usually the finish that is pretty different for the matches for these guys. Their offense is fan friendly. They don't need to switch it up. If I was entertained watching them. It's just hard to take notes for the same thing over and over again. But
exactly.
It's still fun to watch. It's fan friendly. They're knocking the shit out of these guys. And that scaffolding match was scary as fuck.
I knew you'd dig that.
LOD sets up Ted DiBiase for the Doomsday device. Jimmy Hart distracts the referee, so the referee won't prevent IRS from coming in and preventing them from doing the Doomsday device. So he drop kicks Animal, who's holding up Ted DiBiase. Hawk attacks IRS, and then Ted DiBiase gets knocked into IRS when he's on the apron, which leads to Animal power slamming Ted DiBiase, which I guess was a singles finisher for Animal. And he gets the 1-2-3 on Ted DiBiase.
Back when a power slam could be your finishing move.
Braun Strowman does it now.
Really?
Running power slam.
The running power. Yeah. The running power slam was Davey Boy's move.
Okay. So was this one for? It was Hawks, right? Or sorry, Animals. This was because I think when he caught Brett, he power slammed them. That was just a little bit more believable because it was off the top rope.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I've never seen Animal wrestle singles.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of that.
No.
Maybe it's just something they brought out when they didn't want to do the Doomsday device.
Nah.
Maybe
and it was
Ted,
hard.
I would imagine Ted wouldn't want to take it.
Yeah, no way.
Or IRS.
Like I say, I think it's the same thing with Brett.
Yeah.
A lot of people I think were like, no fucking way, I'm taking that Doomsday device. But they had especially the WWF. It was hard to pick a run with them because like I really wanted to talk about their feud with Demolition, but it was kind of it was an older Demolition. Bill Eadie Axe was in really bad shape. They were using Crush a lot more,
So
there was
good thing you bring this up. We kind of skipped over them because we didn't pick the matches or anything. But Demolition is WWF's answer to Legion of Doom.
definitely they couldn't get the Legion of Doom in at the time, so they brought in
It's RC. It's Royal Crown Soda.
Barry Darso and
Cola.
Bill Eadie and formed Axe and Smash Demolition.
Mm-hmm. And like you mentioned, when they made them face off against each other, it was too late. That's why I didn't pick one. That's why you didn't pick one.
Yeah, it was just too late. There weren't a lot of good matches to choose from with them, and yeah, it was just too late.
That's why I didn't pick one, because when I started going through this shit, I'm like, man, these guys had a lot of good matches, but early.
Yeah.
And the Demolition one didn't come till late, so I was like,
yeah, Demolition Hart Foundation was a good rivalry. I think Demolition Rockers was a good rivalry. Just kind of missed the boat on peak Demolition and Legion of Doom time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think we missed anything really too much. Like we said, this was pretty much their peak. After this, they break up and they take their own journeys through wrestling. Hawk forming the Hellraisers in New Japan. LOD 2000 is formed, which is a complete failure. Then sadly Hawk dies, and then they tribute the titles to him. And I think Animal's still alive, right?
Yeah, Joe's still alive.
Yeah.
I don't think he works for the WWE anymore. In fact, he may be working for AEW.
That'd be pretty crazy.
I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% sure, but his Animal went on to have, he had a couple kids. His son, John played college ball at Ohio State, and then was a linebacker in the NFL for a little while. Now he's an analyst, but John Laurinaitis, the little animal. Mm-hmm. I started paying attention to the kid because of who his dad was. And then I kind of became a fan of him because, like, you used to see Animal at Ohio State games and shit. Not that I became an Ohio State fan, but I like John Laurinaitis.
So is LOD your favorite tag team of all
Not
time?
John Laurinaitis. Fucking not John Laurinaitis. John Laurinaitis is an asshole. It's no, it is John Laurinaitis. I was thinking of Johnny Ace. I don't fucking know. Is LOD my favorite tag team ever?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. Followed closely with the Steiners are another favorite.
I like the Steiners a lot because I saw them in WCW a bunch. And I did see the turn, but like I did catch them when they were still feuding, not only with the NWO, but a little bit before that as well.
Yeah, see, I got like the late, like the early WCW era, and then the WWE era or WWF era, Steiner Brothers, and then when they went back to WCW and stuff. But yeah, I love the Legion of Doom. When I was a kid, when they came in 91, 92 was when I first started watching wrestling. So I missed the Jim Crockett Promotions Road Warriors, but I was a huge fan of the Legion of Doom, and all I wanted was those spike shoulder pads when I was a kid.
Oh, I want them right now. I might do that for Halloween. I might switch it up from a Jedi to a Road Warrior. Donkeytron.
You could pull off, you just let your hair grow in the middle, you could pull off Animal.
Yeah, and just go around to people. What a rush.
Wow. That was always Hawk. When he was doing interviews, me and Gene would ask him a question, and he would just be like, well, Tony Schiavone?
That's all I got on Legion of Doom. But before we get out of here, me and the rewrites are gonna go visit Yef.
Yeah, man, we're getting close. We're a little over a month away.
Yeah, so I need to save up some money. Just so I can have money if I want to buy anything.
Come hang out. I mean,
because I'm thinking about it now. I'm like, does this guy have any comic shops nearby?
Yeah,
but I don't know how long I'm gonna be there either. So, because I need to see what time these guys are available to leave that weekend. Because me on Friday, I use my last free day or my last vacation day tomorrow for my birthday. But I'm off of work on Friday at 2:30. I can even go in earlier. Start at 5 and then leave at 1:30. I don't know what time these guys will be available that Friday or when they actually want to leave or when the show is. I just know I'm going. That's the only details I know. I need to talk to Frankie.
Yeah, I need to talk to Frankie too. I haven't talked to Frankie in a while about this. So I need to get some information to him too.
Yeah, and then Frankie wants to actually start a podcast soon, so I'm gonna be
tight.
I'm gonna be producer on that one. I don't know how much content I'll be able to provide
on
that.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. That's awesome. Good for you, Frankie.
I'm excited for that. I'm excited to start Full Heel Podcast Studios Network, whatever you want to call it. I know I was producing Talk is Deep, but that's not Full Heel Podcast. That's Red Ribbon Army. I'm not Red Ribbon Army. I'm Full Heel Podcast.
Right.
I'm not throwing any shade.
No shade. No shade here.
I just refused to join in the beginning because Full Heel Podcast will not have a ruler. Full Heel Podcast will not be ruled by anybody. I just didn't find it, I was like, why? What the hell are we doing here? I have my own equipment. I'm doing everything already. You do you, I do me. And now Full Heel Podcast Network is started. It is born.
You're about to become the Conrad Thompson of fucking...
Yeah, but that one I'm just going to produce. I might chime in and, and whenever Frankie can't get his buddies to come in, I'll step in. I'm going to have to start watching soccer. Full Heel Podcast on soccer. I'm just going to talk shit all day, baby. Heal it up. Heal it up. I think it actually might work just because I don't know, and I can just look at the headline and just talk shit to Frankie about soccer.
There you go.
Be ignorant. So it might work when these guys can't come in and help them out. So I'm excited. I'm actually pretty excited for the podcast and to start Full Heel Podcast Network. I need to upgrade my stuff as well. I've been working overtime, so.
Nice.
I need to put that money aside. Put $100 aside, and 10 weeks I'll have $1,000. I could fucking buy a computer.
Hell yeah.
Pretty good one.
Ooh.
You got anything to plug, Jeff?
Check out the Average Joe's MMA show. You can find us on SoundCloud, Stitcher, not on iTunes. Fuck you, Dave. Yeah, check it out. Me and Rafa talking about wrestling, a little MMA, a little bit of everything else, ton of bullshit. Thanks for having me on. Happy early birthday, my brother.
Thanks a lot, dude. Keep on forgetting tomorrow's my birthday, even though I have the day off.
AEW.
What? Please subscribe to the podcast, to Full Heel Podcast, on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, all that good stuff. Please share, subscribe, rate, and review. It's my birthday tomorrow, so it's my birthday month. The only reason I say that is because I want you guys to download and subscribe to the podcast. It's a whole month thing.
It's a whole month thing.
Yeah, so it's a whole fucking forever thing. Not just this month. Do it forever.
I was say because you can use my birthday next month, and you can piggyback off that as a reason why for them to continue to download, rate, subscribe, and review.
But just do it anyway, not just because it's our birthdays. But do it
But-
because it's our birthdays.
I'd say, but do it because it's our birthdays.
Yeah.
And then if not, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. I'm excited, Jeff.
It's blue cheese with wings.
I'm excited, Jeff. Tomorrow's my birthday, and then from there on, Halloween's coming. I got to take my nieces. Next month, I get to go visit you and get high as shit.
Yeah, man. I'm
To go to
excited as
rewrites.
hell. I'm excited to get the rewrites up here, get you up here. I wish it was going to be warmer climate, unfortunately, but it's going to be the end of November. But fuck it, you guys it'll be good. We're going to get high as shit.
I'm down for that.
Ooh-wee.
I'm down for that. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow for the AEW breakdown, unless it really sucks dick, and maybe even if it really sucks dick, still come on and talk about it. Thanks a lot for joining me and Jeff. Check us out on The Average Joes on Thursday. We will be breaking down the last card that happened, whatever UFC fight night it was. Watterson got her ass kicked.
Watterson and Joanna, yeah, I still got to watch that fight because I was at the Cannabis Cup getting high as fuck.
Awesome. Well, it's on ESPN Plus, so you're lucky.
Got it. Better.
Stay tuned for Friday. Fight Companion.
Just stay